Welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast, a slice of joy and healing with your host, Dr. Altricia Foster. This is a heartwarming and uplifting space that celebrates the transformative power of baking therapy. The conversations will be a delightful blend of inspirational stories, expert insights, and practical baking tips. Each episode will take listeners on a journey of self-discovery, emotional healing, and connection through the therapeutic art of baking. There's something here for everyone, so lock in and let's get into it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cake Therapy Podcast with me, your host, Altricia Foster. Today's slice of joy and healing does not require much of an introduction, but I'm gonna tell you about today's guest though. She is dope, she's friendly, like she's one of the best cake artists in the world, really. She's gonna tell you that she isn't when she comes on, but believe me, she is. So she has like one of the cleanest websites, and if you go on her website, what you're gonna see on there is art, works of art, and a stunning Armenian in custom chef jacket and an otherworldly cakes. The masterpiece that this cake artist produced are often described in her bio that she loves art, and it shows in her work. It shows in the masterpieces that she produces. She's world renowned and she teaches all over the world. Her work is published. She works in medium and texture and life and movement. And if you take one of her class, she'll talk about movement. It has to move, right? So today's guest is none other than Sona, owner of Lima Cakes. Welcome, Sona.
Hi, Altricia. Thank you for the amazing introduction. I feel like a celebrity now.
Oh, girl, you are. You are a celebrity. You're a celebrity in my eyes, but you're also like one of the greatest teachers that I've ever met. So
Means a lot.
I was,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming today, even. So I met Sona in February when I went to Canada to do a class in her new cake academy. It's called the Lima Cake Academy. And then I went back in the summer to do a one-on-one with her, and I was like, "Oh my God, she is so fun." So I want girls, and I want you, our listeners, to hear from her. So Sona, again, welcome. And what our listeners know if they go to your website is that they'll see that you're Armenian. So
Yes.
I would like to know who is Armenian Sona and what who inspires Sona in life in general.
Who's Armenian Sonam? Well, Armenia is my country where I was born and raised and spent most of my life, like half of my life, I would say, before
Hmm.
marrying my husband and immigrating to Canada.
Hmm.
Um, I had a beautiful, beautiful childhood, lots of friends. We grew up in streets, if I can say so.
Yeah.
Uh, and I believe it formed my character. And also, I think my country had a big impact on my artistic life,
Hmm.
um, because my family and my culture actually has this big, um, how can I say, um, we put we're very art and music and culture is very important for us. So every
Hmm.
child who's growing up in Armenia, they have to attend some kind of art or music classes, and forcefully, even
Hmm.
like I've been forced to do music classes, which I hated my entire life to this
Yeah.
day. But my parents would always take me to opera houses. They would take me to theaters. They would force me to read books, and then later on, I started to love reading so much. And I am a big believer that whatever I had in my early childhood affected my creativity a lot.
Hmm. So in what ways? In what ways? How do you see your early development and your early history in Armenia. How do you feel it impacting, your cake designs? How does it show up for you?
Well, to begin with, I think because I always dreamed to be an artist since I was very very little, or I remember myself. Because of that, I've tried many different art forms, and because you know you could find teachers who
Yeah.
wanted to teach you, and the classes weren't very expensive like in US or Canada.
Hmm.
It was very accessible. I think because of that able to try many different art forms and to see what I like, what I don't like.
Hmm.
That's one of the ways. The reading books and attending to music or like opera houses, listening musics or theaters, that developed my inner soul, I would say, or like intelligence, that
Hmm.
developed a lot. What I actually try to do for my kids now. And I take the art in a completely different way. I feel the art and the music in a completely different way. I think that's when you're a kid, you don't realize that, right? You don't understand. You don't want to go. You don't want to listen. You don't want. You just want to play. But I'm very, very thankful for my parents that they forced me and made sure that I am exposed to that world.
Yeah, exposure is important. So you didn't mention like your soul, right? And it shows in every piece that you do that you're really putting your artistic soul and your personality into your cakes. How important is it really to feed your soul in the process of making a cake?
No, it's very, very important. It's one of the reasons I started Lima Cakes, because my monster, creative monster, I like to call him, that was about, like it was ready to come out. And my soul was hungry to create, staying at home for 5 years, not being able to create, not being able to be exposed to art. I was so hungry to just start creating that I promised myself that if I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do, it has to be unique. It has to be
Mhm.
connected to art. And I kept my promise. Like after 7 years doing my work, doing my cakes, I kept myself the promise. And I'm very happy because every time I create a cake, it must bring me the happiness, the
Yeah.
butterfly. If I don't feel it, if I don't just smile every time I go step back and look at my creation, I would not do what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Definitely, this is
Yeah.
not a for me. It's not a business. It's not a way of earning money, or like I don't really care about the popularity. I don't really care about what people think about my art. What I think, what I enjoy, what it brings to me. That's what very very important first place.
Hmm. Hmm. So I like that, and I like that, you mentioned about you've always wanted to be an artist, but like many of us, we don't start where we eventually end up. And like for me, my background is really science, 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 right? But you have an interesting story. What did you study in college? And tell us your journey from what you studied in college, your experience there, and how then we start talking about how you got to Canada.
Well, my master's degree is engineering in technology, uh, which is very, very funny because I have nothing to do with that degree. I don't know how I ended up finishing, getting the university and finishing getting that degree.
Hmm.
But when I was young, I was graduating the school. Honestly, I was confused what I want to do. I never attended any art classes, even though I always dreamed to be an artist. Somehow, I never get a chance to attend to art classes. I would do like like knittings or macrames or something that connects to art, but not maybe what I would love to do, which is drawing, painting, being in visual art. Um, when when I was about to choose the university, I was very influenced by my dad, because I admired him so much and I wanted to be in finance, which is crazy. I have no connection with math. I have I hate I hope my
Yes.
kids are not listening this because they don't know that. But then I realized I went to college to see if I like it, and then I didn't like. So I came back to return to school. And when I graduated, I found this university that teaches multimedia and design, which, oh, great. This, by the way, I also pursued law. I wanted to become a lawyer.
Okay.
I actually studied to see if I will pass. I've tried everything. I'm a Gemini. I would try
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And then when I found this university that offers this faculty of my multimedia and design, I'm like, okay, great. This is something that will be great for my future. Like I can earn money because it's connecting to computers plus design, what I like. But it was an experimental faculty. It was very, very new for Armenia, and they closed down and they changed it to technology, engineering in technology, which is, all coding and C++, nothing to do with me at all. It was my second year actually. And I went to my parents. I asked them that, like, I don't want to go to that university anymore. I want to go to art university, which was very big in Armenia. It's a very good university. And my dad, actually both of them, they told me that I can pursue it as a hobby, like parents, old schoolers, and I can just finish up the university because this is a great opportunity. It will bring you it's a great career and money
Yeah.
maker. I've tried, I listened to them. I've tried for a year to pursue it as a hobby. Obviously you don't have time for that. And then I came back to my parents and told them, made a deal with them that I'm not going to attend to the classes, but I'm going to pursue graphic design, but I will finish the university. So, you will not ask me how I'm finishing the university about my grades, because I'm not going to attend the classes. I'm just going to attend the exams. So I did. I actually started to work as a freelancer everywhere, wherever they would hire me. I went printing house. I worked as a packaging. I worked in a magazine. I worked everywhere. During the 5 year of my university life, I was working nonstop. And when we graduated, actually, I graduated pretty well somehow. Um, Once I graduated, I got a job in one of the international companies, graphic design companies, which was very rare because once you graduate, it's very difficult to find a job because you don't have an experience. They want experienced people, right, to work, especially in the international company. But I had 5 years of experience and they hired me, and then just my graphic design career continued from that
Yeah.
point on. Again, I've been a self-taught graphic designer. Then what happened was there was this opportunity to compete and apply for the scholarship to Milan in Italy, study as a graphic designer. I did, and I won the scholarship. I bought the tickets. I started to learn Italian, to studied Italian. Everything was ready. My parents, I had to pursue them to make sure that, convince them so that they will let me go. Then I met my husband on my birthday, and it was a love at first sight. In 12 days, he proposed me. I said yes, and I gave up all my plans. All my future plans becoming that famous worldwide graphic designer that I was dreaming about, and came to Canada. A cultural shock, obviously, is completely different what I was envisioning for my life. I got pregnant. I had my kids, stayed at home for 5 years to raise my
Mhm.
beautiful daughters, which was a beautiful opportunity because um, the first years of their formation is, I believe, it's very important.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but then when they started to go to school, I was ready. Like as I said, I was hungry
Right.
to create. I was ready to start working.
Mhm. Mhm.
So just a little bit.
No, that's good. So when you decided to start baking, right? Our listeners might be, well, I'm curious. I'd love to know how much has your graphic designing background influenced who Lima Cake is? You know, your cakes today. How much influence does that have?
Um, I believe the a lot. I would say a
Mhm.
lot. I had a mentor when I was doing graphic design. He taught me a lot of stuff that helped me during the creative process when I was in a blog. Whenever I was creating, I couldn't see the design.
Mhm.
I would revisit and remember what he was teaching me, how I can get out of that block, and what I should do to continue creating.
Mhm.
He also taught me a lot how train my brain to see designs, and I transformed it into seeing the cakes, seeing different objects as a cake, and trying to recreate it in a cake form. So
Mhm.
I would say a lot, like the
Yeah.
knowledge of color theory, composition, maybe, although it's a little bit different when you work with three-dimensional objects.
Mhm.
Definitely, like there are differences, but I do apply it a lot.
Okay. Okay. So I guess that brings me into the question, like, what exactly is your process? You know.
Um, the process starts with the client. Obviously, each client, I
Mhm.
don't repeat any of my designs. I don't repeat any of my cakes. Um, when I meet with the client, we have to click, first of all. It's very important for me that we click with the client first. And then after that, we discuss a lot. We brainstorm together. And then I get excited because, each client brings their own creativity, their own, they influence me a lot with their personalities, with their souls, with their characters, with their stories, with their tastes, a lot.
Mhm.
um, then when we have some ideas, like we agree on a design, I start the process of creating, definitely the baking part, and then finding the right forms, the right heights, paying attention to the composition of the cake, of the design, and then it's a bit difficult for me to explain because I go through so many stages of
Mhm.
creating. It's not
Yeah.
just, I can't say like this is first stage and then the second and then the
Got it.
third. What I
Mhm.
realized that I go into a meditation zone when I'm creating. That's
Okay.
one of the biggest revolutions things that I've realized about myself recently. I was reading about how to get to the creative meditation zone, and I realized that
Mhm.
I actually do that without
Okay.
having that knowledge that I'm
Yeah.
into that zone. And I'm so connecting with the cake at that moment, with the design. um, it just starts building.
Mhm.
I start with a small part, and then I will, with that small part, I will go up and down to
Mhm.
find what I feel.
Yeah.
It's difficult to teach that moment. We talked about it, I think,
Yeah.
when I was teaching. It's very difficult to explain the feeling,
Yeah.
but when you have that feeling, you will know that you're in the right track.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would send the picture to my sister-in-law, and she would say, "Oh, the Lima magic is lacking. Like there is no Lima touch. I don't see the Lima touch." And then I'm like, "What is Lima touch?" Like I could never figure out what's the Lima touch. That's what she was calling. And then I
Mhm.
realized that the reason I was sending the pictures to her is because I couldn't connect with the cake. I couldn't see it. So
Oh,
once
okay.
I was connecting with the cake, once I was seeing it, that's when I was getting the Lima touch.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of like thinking.
Mm-hmm.
My classes, my cakes, my process takes a lot of brainstorming and going deeper
Yeah.
into um, what you feel. I would say it's. I think it's all about feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely about feelings. But you did mention there something I heard that was pretty interesting is that you don't repeat cakes. Could you
No,
like share with us why? Why don't you repeat cakes?
I like to say I'm a Gemini. I don't want to. I will get bored, like you.
Yeah.
But um, the the first year when I decided to pursue cake as career, I promised myself
Mhm.
that I had three promises, like goals. I
Mhm.
want to be best in my field. I want to do only artistic designs,
Yeah.
not copy any other artist or myself.
Mhm.
And I don't want to do kiss cakes. Sorry, guys. Whoever is doing kiss cakes, I just don't like the like. I'm very moody and dark. I have a dark personality, so the
Mhm.
colorful cakes are not for me much. Um, and one of the reasons is because I get tired very quickly when I have to repeat
Yeah.
something else,
Okay.
even though sometimes, for example, I will come up with a technique, with a texture.
Mhm.
I will put it out there on Instagram, and everybody will start copying the cake or the texture, the technique,
Mhm.
and then somebody will take it and develop it more, and they will say it's their technique, but I can probably say that I started it. But
Yeah.
because I don't continue, I don't repeat the technique, I don't repeat the design, I don't repeat my cakes, it's not staying as Lima's signature.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Got
goes up,
it. Mhm.
which I don't mind, by the way, because every time I've tried a couple of times to copy the cakes, I hated every second of that process. I hated it.
Mhm.
I didn't enjoy working. I delayed actually the starting process. I delayed it so much that I physically couldn't delay it anymore because I had a deadline to finish
Mhm.
the cake, and I realized that I'm resisting, working on the cake, and I didn't like the feeling that I was feeling.
Right.
So every time I create a new design, it's a challenge for me. I
Mhm.
challenge myself. I compete with myself, not with
Yeah.
other people, which is
Mhm.
very difficult. You can't outdo your cake. You can't outdo what at that moment you felt so proud. But I do. I think I'm in a search of that feeling all the time. It's like getting
Yeah.
high.
No, it's true. We're constantly seeking that pleasure. That's me in the kitchen. I'm constantly seeking the pleasure from my last best cake or something like that. So I can
Exactly,
get it. Yeah.
exactly. It's interesting, and I
Yeah.
love that. I enjoy it, and one of the reasons also that I don't have repeating clients as well, which is again like uh, as a business owner, you can say it. Because I do enjoy working with new people. I want
Mhm.
to discover their creativity. I want to discover their souls and their characters, to
Yeah.
put it, because every cake, by the way, I name my cakes. Every time I post it, I try to give names to my
Mhm.
cakes, because the soul of my clients goes into the cake. I can see the cake. I can see the client with the cake.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? I've had the opportunity to really hang out with you, talk, chit chat, like really design and develop ideas. Um, what I like about you is that you give so much. You really give when you're in a space. Even when I remember our first class, you help to pull and push things out of your students, and that I can appreciate about you. And I want to talk about what made you decide to start teaching. Yeah. It is a gift and it's a talent to teach, and you give so much. But what led you there?
I've never thought about it actually. It just happened. There was an opportunity to teach. I didn't think that I'm ready, if I'm being honest, and I'm always honest.
Yeah.
But I took it and I taught. First time it was in Paris actually, and I really enjoyed sharing my knowledge because I realized that um, you can give so much, like whatever you learned. And at that time when I was teaching, the teaching was not very popular, traveling was not very popular, like these online classes now that everybody offers. You didn't have much information about artistry, cake art. And when I was sharing my knowledge, my techniques, I was getting so much good feedback from my students, that it just kept me going. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I did elevate my teaching, actually. I would say that for sure. Now, what I try to do is, instead of teaching you techniques or mediums, I want to teach you creativity. Very, very difficult to do that, but I believe that's what we're lacking in the classes, because you can learn all the techniques that everybody teaches on Instagram or on YouTube or by the books.
Yeah.
There are so many platforms right now that you can attend and you can learn and you can become whoever you want to become. One of the biggest things that is lacking in our community is the ability to create, the freedom to create, because your clients are not ready to give that to you. Your teachers, for sure, they don't want you to have that, because it's very difficult to control 15, 16 students in a group, and give them full creative freedom. Like, it's a mess. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a psychological mess. It's not just a creative mess, it's a psychological mess, because you can see people breaking down and
Yeah.
then rebuilding again, and you only have 6, 7 hours to pull them together, to pull yourself together, to
Yeah.
understand their characters, to not offend them with your honesty and with your pushing, but at the same time to push enough so that they can actually feel like, maybe create a safe place for them to
Mm-hmm.
be able to open up to you.
Yeah.
um, it's been so rewarding. I've seen so many students like just blooming, and I could see that moment that when they were breathing with a sigh and just smiling, like they couldn't
Yeah.
hold their smiles. I've seen students
Mm-hmm.
crying. It happened to, um, uh, because it's a difficult, it's a process that you need
Mm-hmm.
to experience. That's what I'm. If you come to my class, you want to see, you want to know how I work, right? That this is how I work. I
Yeah.
cry, I laugh, I doubt myself, and then at the end, I create a cake, a beautiful art piece that I'm
Mm-hmm.
so proud of.
Yep. And from my own personal experience, it's how you manage to get the best out of the student, right? I remember coming into your class and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do color. You're like, but you wear such colorful clothes. It's your personality. And I was like, nah. But then we created that magic, right? And I really enjoyed it. And I thought then that, man, this lady is blessed. She has a calling to teach and to push people beyond their own expectations, beyond what they see for themselves. And let's face it here, Sona, as humble as you are, popularity, followers, comments, likes, those things don't phase you. I've met you, those things do not move you. But my question to you is, right now, how do you manage this success, of Lima Cakes? And did you envision this success for yourself?
I did. I did envision the success. I dreamed about it. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming so soon, for sure.
Hmm.
But I
Right.
dreamt. I dreamt about it. I dreamt to be to travel all over the world. I dreamt to be the best. I wanted to be recognized for my art.
Mhm.
Um, Not for others, but to for myself. I think to myself and to my family. I
Yeah.
think that was the driven point, because I wanted to show my family that I can be who I want to be,
Yeah.
and we all have that gaps in our hearts, the holes that you
Mhm.
don't know what's the reason that you can't feel, like
Mhm.
getting married, having kids. That's amazing, but one of the biggest holes in my heart was not being able to pursue my career, and I'm a very career oriented person. I
Mhm.
ask my husband. He would always say, you're like a man. you, you work like a man, you think like a man. um, um, and I think that was one of the driven points that made me so stubborn to, despite all the obstacles, all the difficulties, all the problems facing while I was trying to build Lima Cakes.
Yeah.
I just stuck with Lima Cakes and
Mhm.
continued.
Yeah.
um, it is amazing. It's very rewarding. I mean, at the end, when you see what you're growing, when you see it's blooming, the flower
Mhm.
that is blooming, it's very rewarding. It's very beautiful. It's very touching. I
Yeah.
would say. But I also really miss the time when I was just starting.
Yeah.
That drive.
Mm.
I am missing that drive a lot. And
Really?
I always tell my students, whoever just starting, I'm like, I'm so jealous of you. Like you have this opportunity, like you can start. You don't have a name yet,
Yeah.
but you have the passion and you can create that name.
Mhm.
When you do for a long time, the passion, as much as you try to keep it, it also dials down a little bit.
Oh, I see. Could you just, for a moment, describe the drive, the difference between the drive when you were starting and the drive now, having to maintain Lima Cakes, the brand?
Easy. um, I was a cake zombie. I
Yeah.
was walking, talking, seeing, eating, and whatever I was doing, in my eyes, I would just see cakes.
Mhm.
I stopped cooking. I stopped, really being with my family. 100%,
Mhm.
being a perfect wife. And I would not sleep. I would not eat properly. And
Mhm.
whenever everybody was sleeping, I would continue working until maybe even 6 a.m.
Okay.
In the morning to be able to finish up the cake that I need to finish. I would not have a day off. I would not want to have a day off. I didn't want to go on vacations. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to create.
Mhm.
Um, Now, every opportunity I get for a rest, I take it.
Yeah.
Every opportunity I have to be with my kids, I take it.
Yeah.
It's an excuse. I don't have a client. Great. I
Yeah.
can clean the house, let's say.
Yeah. So, that's good. So, do you think this is rest that is earned? That's why you're taking it,
Um,
or yeah?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm just asking if you do you think you. I think you've earned it. So go ahead and take your vacations. You've earned it.
um, I don't know if I earned it or not. I do feel guilty every time I'm not working, which is,
Mhm.
like, I think it's common feeling, or for the workaholics like myself, maybe, or for the artists, that you feel like if you're not creating, if you're not working in the studio, you're missing out a lot. But at the same time, I really enjoy. I really
Yeah.
enjoy my downtime. And as much as everybody says that you need to rest, your brain needs to rest to regain the powers again. Now
Mhm.
I'm starting to understand it.
Yeah.
Also, like the physical shape is not the same. Like I have a lot of pain in my hands, wrists, like the tools that I use, my
Yeah.
hands,
Lots of
the back
tools.
pain. So I guess that's also a little bit slowing me down.
Yeah. Do you work alone? Is Lima Cakes like a one woman show?
Uh, yes, yes. Well, I have a manager who does all the stuff that I hate doing. But the creative process is Sona only. Again, go back to meditation zone. If there is anybody in my studio, I can't meditate. I can't go into that creative zone and start seeing the design. I tried a couple of times, had the interns, and I realized that I can't wait for them to leave so that I can create, so I can start my work. um, that's the feeling I was getting. So I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
For the academy, I have assistant.
Okay.
She is amazing. I couldn't do without her. So I'm trying to learn also to delegate, which is working. Like
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm trusting her almost 100%. She's doing amazing. But when it comes to my cakes, for now, I don't think I'm ready yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you talk about delegation, you talk about the academy and interns. My question to you now is, what is your message? Because those interns are obviously individuals who are watching you, watching the magic that you present, on a daily basis. What is your message to anyone who wants to enter into this cake artistry, this profession of baking and cake design?
Um, First of all, don't start the cake artistry, cake design, cake business because you want to be with your kids. That's the number one thing, because you never will be.
Yeah.
I'm- to be a little bit funny, because every time I'm teaching, when I ask my students like what drove you to become a cake artist, they would say that I didn't want to pursue my career anymore because I wanted to be with my kids.
Yeah.
um, it's misleading. Like you don't have time,
Hmm.
especially in the beginning. But to be more serious, I would say stay true to what you want to do. Like why, always remember why you started it, like for what reason you started it.
Hmm.
um, don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle or the end.
Okay.
That's another one of the biggest things that goes in the artist mind. We always compare ourselves.
Hmm.
um, it's very difficult maybe compare, but don't close yourself down when you're comparing, but versus make it as a like a driven point,
Hmm.
so that you can continue and become like the person you're admiring so much, or you want the person to be. um, Maybe have goals, dreams. Actually have one unachievable dream, break it down to the goals that you can be closer to that dream. There are so many things that I can advise.
Yeah.
So many things. One of the things is, if you want to be baker, be a baker. If you want to be an artist, then you should be an artist. You should find ways to become the artist, not to be in that cycle of pleasing the customers, earning money, and burning yourself out and not being able to do whatever you initially wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah. You speak so much of feeding your personal soul through your art, and I love that. And that's a good message to impart to individuals who want to enter into the baking arena. But we have a foundation over here in Minneapolis that's called the Cake Therapy Foundation for Women and Girls And the foundation really teaches women and girls to bake through their trauma, you know. For those girls who are obviously listening, what how has baking impacted how you respond to your own personal trauma, whatever it is, you know, or to bake through your anxiety or whatever? How would you encourage a girl, you know, who's listening, who's got some stuff going on?
First of all, I really admire you for what you're doing. It's a very it's a God-given thing that you're doing actually for those girls and for people that maybe lost their hopes and now they can regain, or maybe they can find a safe place to forget about their traumas, or maybe talk about it, or maybe just release through the art process.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's something that not many people could do, and you did it. I'm very proud of you. I
Thank
admire
you.
you. You're an inspiration for a lot of women.
Thank you.
um, and to say how it will impact, or how it impacts me, not the baking, but the cake decorating, the designing part. I think it silences down a lot of noise in my head. um, I'm lucky not going through traumas. I do
Hmm.
have childhood traumas. Who doesn't? Like
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
your
Right.
parents having a lot of traumas,
Hmm.
but nothing major that would impact my psychology, personality, or
Hmm.
my choices. But I do have a lot of noise in my head. I
Yeah.
have a lot of voices, a lot of ups and downs. I do go in through depression, creative depression, I like to call it.
Yeah.
um, it is normal as human beings.
Hmm.
So I think cake artistry is helping me to minimalize all these noises and silence them down, and
Hmm.
to feel good about myself, and to be
Right.
proud of myself, and to be creative, and to actually also at the same time inspire other women.
Yep. Hmm. Absolutely. So it's like there's a stillness once you enter your studio. The noise is
Absolutely.
quieted, and you know, and Sona gets to work. What do you want your legacy to be? Do you want your legacy in the cake world to be? So tell me how you want to impact and influence the lives of your girls. You have two girls. Um, but then what's the legacy you want to leave in the cake world?
I haven't thought about the legacy of living in cake world. It's a very, like, it sounds very big.
Hmm.
I would say, maybe it's something to dream about. I haven't
Hmm.
thought yet.
Right. Yeah.
But I can, like, bring it slightly down and talk about my kids. I'm raising two beautiful, powerful girls, and very independent and very strong. They have their own minds and their opinions. One of the legacies that I want, actually, one of the examples that I want to show them, that you can have a family, you can have kids, and you can be successful. You can be a
Hmm.
woman. You can have every whatever you need to have, whatever you want
Hmm.
to have, and at the same time, you can also have a career and have a successful career. My daughter, the older one, she's in music. She's pursuing music now, and she came to me. I was, like, giving her, hinting the dreams, like what her dreams should
Yeah.
be. Guilty. And
Yeah.
I was like, Lily, imagine you would go to tours, and then you will sing on stages, and like, I want her to dream big. And
Yeah.
then one day she came to me from school. I was cooking, and she came to me. She's like, Mama, if I go to tours and I really want to have kids. I'm like, great, you can have kids. Like, but if I go to tours, I will not be with my kids. Like, my kids will be alone, and I want to be that mom who will, when they come home, mom will always be home like you are.
Hmm.
I said, Lily, you start the touring. I'll come with your kids with to the tour. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. There will be always a family support.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another maybe the examples or maybe the message that I want to give them is you can rely on others. Like you can
Yeah.
rely on family and ask for help. um, don't try to do everything on your own, because as people say, it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to do whatever you like to get to your dream. You can't
Mm-hmm.
do it on your own, and you can't
Yeah.
forget people who helped you in the
Right.
process. You always
Mm-hmm.
need to be thankful to them out loud. You always need to tell them how you appreciate their help, and always try to maybe help them to get to their dreams too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can definitely leave on that message like gratitude, live out loud, and always rely on people. But before we go, I'd like to ask, what's in the works for you? Like, what's next? You have a lot of cake classes coming up. We're gonna keep you busy, but what's next in the
Uh,
pipeline?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Every year brings something new.
Hmm.
Um, I would say I achieved a lot of goals I set for myself. Maybe next will be teaching the younger generation. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe teaching the kids. And I've been teaching adults for so many years, and I've seen that the adults come with a baggage, with a lot of issues, with a lot of problems. And when you give them the blank page to create, to draw, they are stuck
Hmm.
because of all the baggages that we have, all the rules and regulations and lessons that we've been taught since we
Yeah.
were kids. I want to experiment and see how the kids think. Maybe if
Hmm.
I give them all these mediums and I teach them all this, like give this all this information, how what would they come up?
Yeah.
And I'm planning to do it maybe like with my younger daughter's class. We'll see.
Hmm.
And she actually came to me, is like, Mama, what if they will not follow the rules and they will just do whatever they want to do? I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to see, what
Yeah.
if you will not follow any of the rules?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
My
Maybe that
son
would be fun.
Yeah, my son is into art, so we pay for like an extra art program for him after school because he wants to. It's something that he's interested in. So I would love to see how that develops for children, and then gives me a reason to come back to Canada, right? Um,
And then we will spend time, laugh, eat.
yeah, and eat. Yeah. So if you go to Canada, Sona does provide the best lunches, the best food, and the best conversations. So Sona, let me tell you something. You could have done anything else today, but I've been waiting to speak with you, and I'm so honored that you took the time to come and spend some time with me to talk to my listeners about the beauty of cake, the artistry, what you present to the world, your gift to the world. And I'm really, really appreciative that you really carved out the time to talk to me because let's face it, you are Lima Cakes, right? You are the top 21 wedding designer around the world, and you're on Cake Therapy, a slice of joy and healing. And this was really exciting for me because I get to see you again and talk to you, although we talk all the time. But I'm excited that you came on to share with us. So thank you so much for being here. And before we go, you could find, if you don't know, Lima, Sona's Instagram, it's Lima Cakes. It's easy to find. And so is her website, right? What you will see there is breathtaking cakes. So thank you so much again, Sona, for joining us.
Thank you
Um,
too. Actually, you're telling me that I carved the time. It's my honor to spend extra time with you and to spread my message or my love, or maybe if I can help in some ways to all these women that you're helping,
yeah,
maybe I can give a little bit help to them. That would be a big it's something big to me, for my heart.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that you invited me. I really, really enjoyed our conversation. um, I love you. Like,
Oh, I love
we,
you.
since
Yeah.
the day one in the academy, and I'm very honest. Like, I can feel people very quickly. Like, I can detect the personality. I can feel those people. We clicked at that,
Yeah.
like, a first moment we met. We clicked. We laughed.
Mhm.
um like, I never felt awkward with you. I never felt like I have to behave in some other way.
Yeah.
All my quirkiness, my the other Lima side that
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
doesn't really know.
Right.
um so I really love you, and I'm very thankful that you invited me. Thank you, Alfrisha. I hope that we will do this again, or we will meet again, and we'll spend time. And if you need my help with anything, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna hold you to that, and I know that I can hold you to that because I've learned and gotten to know you over the months. So thank you so much for being here. So thank you, listeners. Join us again on the next episode of Cake Therapy. Your slice of joy and healing today was Sona from Lima Cakes.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for tuning in to the Cake Therapy Podcast. Your support means the world to us. Let us know what you thought about today's episode in the comment section. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you found the conversation helpful, please share it with a friend. Also, follow Sugar Spoon Desserts on all social media platforms. We invite you to support Cake Therapy and the work we do with our foundation by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, or by visiting the Cake Therapy website and making a donation. All your support will go towards the Cake Therapy Foundation and the work we are doing to help women and girls. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.